What if the reason you feel drained isn't because life is too heavy, but because you keep carrying battles that were never yours to fight? We live in a world that praises constant caring. Yet, as one timeless truth says, the tighter you hold, the more you suffer. The more you care about every opinion, every outcome, every twist of fate, the more your peace is held hostage. But what if letting go didn't make you weaker? What if it made you untouchable? Imagine living in such calm that no insult, no rejection, no failure could shake you. This isn't fantasy, it's a discipline. And in this journey, I'll show you the Buddhist path to becoming unbothered, without becoming cold. Before we begin with number 1, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. And stay until the end, because there's a powerful bonus habit that will make this transformation twice as fast, yet almost no one does it. 1. The weight you chose without knowing. If freedom is your nature, why do you feel chained? You wake each day carrying a weight you never questioned, convinced it is part of you. Yet in truth, much of it is chosen unconsciously. You are bound by the threads you choose to hold, expectations, opinions, fears that are not your own. Like a bird clinging to a rusted cage door, you forget the sky was always yours. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering often begins with attachment, not just to people or possessions, but to ideas of how life should be. We carry them as if they are sacred, yet they are often illusions handed down by the noise of the world. When the Buddha spoke of liberation, it wasn't escape from life, it was escape from the weight of unnecessary chains. Think of the mind as a backpack. Over the years, you've placed stones inside. The pressure to impress, the fear of being misunderstood, the need to control outcomes. Some stones were slipped in by others, family expectations, society's definitions of success, the fear of judgment. You did not notice the heaviness because it became normal, but normal does not mean necessary. In the modern world, we carry this load in subtle ways, replaying conversations to analyze if we sounded right, measuring our worth against another's highlight reel, shaping our decisions to please those who aren't even watching. And yet, the greatest irony is this: we seek happiness while gripping the very weights that drown our joy. To release them, begin with awareness. Pause today and ask yourself, what burdens am I holding that belong to someone else? Notice how your body feels when you think of them. Imagine placing those burdens on the ground and see the space they leave behind. This is not selfishness, it is clarity. In Buddhist mindfulness, letting go is not giving up. It is choosing peace over needless struggle. Make this a daily practice. Each morning, before you step into the world, picture that heavy backpack. Choose one stone to set down. Perhaps it is the need to be liked. Perhaps it is the belief that you must always be right. Each stone removed is a breath returned to you. Over time, your steps will feel lighter, and you will walk not as a prisoner, but as a traveler. The truth is simple. The less you care about carrying the unnecessary, the more space there is for what truly matters. Happiness is not in adding more to your life. It is in removing what was never yours to hold. And when you no longer dance to the noise of the world, you finally hear your soul's music. The loss that brings more than it takes. How can losing something make you richer? It sounds like a paradox, yet in the quiet language of the soul, it is a truth that repeats itself again and again. The empty cup can hold the clearest water, but only when it is truly empty. You cannot receive with closed fists, just as you cannot breathe deeply when you are holding your breath. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that what we cling to most tightly often becomes the very source of our suffering. We hold on to relationships that no longer bring harmony, to dreams that no longer fit who we are, to identities we have outgrown. We believe that letting go means losing ourselves, but in reality, it often means finding ourselves for the first time. Like pruning a tree, the branches you cut away make space for fruit to grow. Loss, when seen through the eyes of awakening, is not always destruction. It can be creation. Consider the times life has stripped something away from you. A job you thought you needed, a friendship you believed would last forever, an image of yourself you worked so hard to maintain. At first, the absence felt sharp and cold, but slowly, that very emptiness became fertile soil for something purer to emerge. In our modern world, we are taught to measure richness by how much we have: possessions, achievements, validations. But Buddhism invites a different question. What can I remove so that my heart is free to breathe? Imagine yourself holding on to something so tightly that your knuckles turn white. Now imagine loosening your grip, letting it slip away, and looking down to see your hands open, ready to receive what life has been trying to give you all along. This practice begins with courage, the courage to face the fear that without this thing you will be less. Sit with the fear. Notice its shape, its weight. Then ask yourself, what am I afraid to lose, yet might gain peace by letting go? The mind will offer 100 reasons to cling, but your heart knows that true abundance flows when you stop damming the river. Make it a daily ritual. At the end of each day, reflect on one thing you can release: a resentment, a false obligation, a self-imposed expectation. See yourself placing it gently down, like a branch that has served its time. Watch how your inner landscape opens. In time, you will realize that what was taken was never truly yours, and what was given in its place, peace, clarity, lightness, is worth infinitely more. When you no longer fear the emptiness, you begin to trust it. And in that trust, you discover the quiet miracle. Losing is not always loss. Sometimes it is the beginning of being truly full. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I choose peace daily." The sacred pause between action and reaction. What if the most important part of your life was just 1 second long? One breath, one pause, one heartbeat where you choose differently. In the gap lies your freedom. It is the quiet space between what happens to you and what you choose to do next. And yet, most people rush past it, reacting on impulse, adding fuel to the fires they wish would die out. Buddhist wisdom teaches that mindfulness is not simply about stillness, it is about awareness in motion. Life will always bring moments that trigger anger, fear, or defensiveness. But there is a sacred pause between action and reaction, like the moment between a match striking and the flame catching. In that sliver of time, you still hold the power to prevent the fire. We often believe our reactions are automatic, unchangeable. Someone insults us, we feel hurt. A plan collapses, we panic. But these are not fixed laws, they are habits of the mind. When you slow down enough to notice the space between the event and your response, you step out of the prison of reflex and into the field of choice. This is where emotional freedom is born. In the modern world, speed is worshipped. Messages demand instant replies. Problems demand instant solutions. But urgency is not always truth. Often, it is the mind's trick to avoid awareness. Imagine the next time you feel provoked, stopping for one slow, intentional breath, Notice the tension in your body, the story in your mind, and then do nothing. This nothing is not emptiness, it is presence. Make it a practice. Whenever you feel triggered, imagine you are holding a delicate cup of water. If you move too quickly, it will spill. But if you hold still, the water settles and you can see clearly through it. Ask yourself, what changes when I pause before I speak? How many mistakes are born from rushing? The answers will teach you more than any argument ever could. Over time, this pause becomes your strength. You will find that you do not need to defend every opinion, attend every fight, or chase every fleeting urge. The pause reveals that most storms pass without your interference. And when you do act, your actions are sharper, kinder, and aligned with your deeper truth. 1 second can feel like nothing, but it can also change everything. The less you let your emotions control your instant reactions, the more peace you create within yourself and around you. And in that space, that sacred pause, you discover the quiet power to choose your own freedom. The one thing that was always yours. If you cannot control the waves, what can you control? Life's waters are rarely still. Some days they carry you gently. Other days they rise in storms that threaten to pull you under. Yet in all this movement, one thing has always been yours. Master the helm, not the sea. The waves will never belong to you, but the way you steer through them always will. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that much of our suffering comes not from life itself, but from demanding that life bend to our will. We try to control how others see us, how the future unfolds, how the world behaves. But this is like a sailor shouting at the wind, insisting it blow in a different direction. The sea does not listen, and the shouting only exhausts us. Instead, imagine yourself standing at the helm of your own mind. The wind is unpredictable, the waves restless. Yet, with a steady hand, you can adjust your sail to move with what is, instead of against it. This is the art of inner control, the discipline to guide your thoughts, your focus, and your actions, even when the world refuses to obey. In daily life, this means noticing where your energy leaks into battles you cannot win. Perhaps you spend hours trying to make someone understand your point of view. Perhaps you cling to a plan that clearly needs to change. Ask yourself, where am I fighting for control I never had? You may discover that the harder you push, the heavier your spirit feels. Shifting your focus to what you can master is like turning the wheel toward calmer waters. Your breath, your words, your attitude, these are the tools always within your reach. The moment you realize this, peace stops being something you chase and becomes something you practice. Even when the waves are high, the helm is steady in your hands. Make this a daily exercise. When something unsettles you, pause and visualize yourself at that helm. The waves may roar, but you breathe slowly, adjust your inner sail, and choose a direction that serves peace. This is not passivity, it is power without struggle. It is knowing that a sailor's strength lies not in taming the sea, but in mastering the art of navigation. And so, the less you fight for the illusion of control, the more mastery you find over yourself. Life's waves will always rise and fall, but your calm, your choices, your inner direction, these have always been yours. And when you guide them wisely, you discover that you do not need to calm the sea to sail in peace. Stillness is the highest form of power. Can a tree fear the wind if its roots are deep? Storms may bend its branches, but its foundation holds firm. Power is not the storm, but the calm that outlasts it. In a world that glorifies speed and noise, stillness can seem like weakness, yet in truth, it is the highest form of power. Buddhist wisdom teaches that stillness is not the absence of movement, but the presence of mastery. It is the choice to remain centered while the mind, the world, and the emotions swirl around you. Like a mountain that remains unmoved while clouds race across its peak, your strength lies not in chasing the storm, but in standing in a place it cannot touch. The mind, left untrained, reacts to every gust of wind, a comment, a setback, a fear. Each reaction pulls you away from your center, scattering your energy. But when you cultivate stillness, you become like the deep roots of a tree, drawing strength from a place no storm can reach. This stillness is not passive. It is deliberate, focused, and alive with awareness. In daily life, this means pausing before you act, letting the initial surge of emotion pass like a wave. It means choosing not to speak when anger demands a reply, or not to chase after answers when uncertainty appears. Ask yourself, when was the last time I chose stillness over reaction? What did it save me from? You may find that it spared you from regret, from wasted energy, from battles that never needed fighting. To practice this, find a moment each day to anchor yourself. Close your eyes and feel your breath deepen. Imagine roots growing from your feet into the earth, steady and strong. The wind can howl, but it cannot uproot you. The clouds can darken, but they cannot touch the mountain beneath them. In this grounded state, clarity arises, and with clarity comes wise action. Over time, you will see that stillness is not inaction. It is preparation. It gives you the space to choose your direction with precision rather than being dragged by the current of impulse. In stillness, you can hear the subtler truths, the quiet guidance that is often drowned out by the noise of reaction. And so, the less you rush to match the chaos around you, the more you find the calm within you. This calm is unshakable, for it does not depend on the world behaving. It is yours to keep, yours to return to, and yours to live from. When the winds rise, remember, storms pass, but the rooted remain. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I choose peace daily." Detachment is not indifference. Can you love without clinging? We are taught that love means holding on, protecting, and never letting go. Yet Buddhist wisdom whispers another truth. Care deeply, but hold lightly. Love is not measured by the tightness of your grip, but by the freedom you allow. Like holding a butterfly in your palm, the gentlest touch lets it stay, yet it is always free to fly when it chooses. Detachment is often misunderstood as coldness or indifference, but it is the opposite. Indifference says, "I do not care." Detachment says, "I care enough to let you be." It is love without chains, connection without possession. It allows the other person and yourself to breathe without fear of losing or being lost. When we confuse love with control, we begin to smother the very thing we want to nurture. We try to manage how others think, act, and feel. We try to script their path so that it fits our idea of what is safe or right. But just as a tree cannot grow if you keep it in a pot too small, people cannot grow when our love becomes a cage. In your own life, reflect. Where am I confusing love with control? Perhaps it is in a relationship where you cannot rest until they act exactly as you hope. Perhaps it is in friendship where your care turns into constant checking, correcting, or rescuing. Ask yourself how it would feel if these connections were lighter, if you could trust them enough to walk their path without gripping their steps. A daily practice of detachment begins with awareness. When you feel the urge to control, pause. Close your eyes and see the person you love wrapped in light, safe, whole, and free to live their life. This visualization is not about pushing them away, but about honoring their independence and your own peace. Detachment does not mean withdrawal. You can still be present, still offer kindness, still share moments of joy, but your happiness no longer hinges on their choices, their moods, or their path. You stop measuring love by the closeness of the body and start feeling it in the openness of the heart. In this way, detachment is liberation for both of you. The less you cling, the more authentic your connections become. Love flows more freely when it is not tethered by fear. And you will find, as the Buddha taught, that freedom and love are not opposites. They are the same breath. Care deeply, but hold lightly. And in that space, both hearts can finally rest. The mirror that shows the real enemy. Who hurts you more, others or your own mind? The world can throw stones, yes, but it is often the echo in your thoughts that strikes you hardest. Your thoughts can be kinder than the world, or crueler than it. In Buddhist wisdom, we are reminded that the mind is both the painter of our reality and the critic that can destroy it. If left unchecked, it can turn a passing shadow into an endless night. It is like standing at the edge of a still lake, seeing your reflection ripple with the wind and mistaking it for a stranger. You react to it, afraid, defensive, or angry, not realizing you are only fighting yourself. Most suffering is not born from what happens, but from the story we tell ourselves about it. The insult someone spoke may last a moment, but the replay in your mind can last for days, weeks, or even years. In modern life, this is why so many feel exhausted without knowing why. You might spend hours imagining what someone meant by a glance, building entire battles that never happened. You might take a single failure and weave a narrative of, "I'm not good enough." These stories may feel real, but they are creations of the mind, sharpened each time you think them. Buddhist practice invites us to look into this mirror with honesty. When hurt, pause and ask, is this pain coming from outside or from the story I'm telling myself? You may find that the external event was small, but your mind has painted it in bold, heavy strokes. This awareness alone is the beginning of freedom. To train the mind toward kindness, you must first notice its cruelty. When a painful thought arises, do not push it away. Instead, look at it as you would look at a cloud, passing, changing, without solid form. Replace the harsh story with a gentler truth. Maybe they were having a bad day. Maybe it's not about me. Maybe I don't need to carry this. Make this a daily discipline. Each night, reflect. How often am I fighting battles that only exist in my mind? You may discover that most of your exhaustion comes not from life itself, but from wrestling shadows. And shadows vanish when you bring them into the light. The less you allow your thoughts to be ruled by fear and suspicion, the more peaceful the world becomes, even if the world hasn't changed. For in the end, the greatest enemy and the greatest friend you will ever have both live in the same place, your own mind. Train it well, and it will stop hurting you and start protecting you. Silence, the language of inner strength. Must every truth be spoken to be real? We live in a world that urges us to express, to respond, to make our voices heard. Yet Buddhist wisdom reminds us that silence too is an answer, and often the wisest one. The tongue can wound more than the sword, but it can also heal through restraint. There is a kind of power in what you choose not to release into the world. Silence is not emptiness. It is a space where thoughts can settle, where emotions can cool, and where clarity can grow. Like a candle burning silently in the dark, it still gives light without making a sound. When you withhold words born from anger, pride, or fear, you create a sanctuary where peace can take root, within you and between you and others. So much of our suffering comes from speaking too quickly, from letting raw emotion pour out before it has been softened by understanding. A moment of thoughtless speech can plant seeds of conflict that take years to uproot. But silence, when chosen mindfully, can prevent entire gardens of regret from growing. In daily life, this practice means recognizing the moment before you speak, that delicate space where choice lives. Not every truth must be announced. Some truths are better lived than declared. Some truths ripen in the quiet until they become wisdom, and when spoken later, they nourish instead of wound. Try this today. When you feel the urge to speak from a place of irritation, pause. Breathe deeply. Visualize sitting in stillness for 1 full minute, noticing how much power remains in what you don't say. You may find that your silence changes the energy of the moment entirely. Instead of escalating tension, it allows calm to rise. Instead of deepening misunderstanding, it creates room for empathy to enter. Ask yourself, what could I choose not to say today and gain peace instead? This is not about avoiding truth or suppressing feelings. It is about choosing the right time and the right heart to deliver them. Silence gives you both. Over time, this mindful silence becomes a shield. You will find you no longer need to defend yourself in every moment, no longer need to prove your worth through words. The less you give in to the impulse to react, the more inner space you create. And in that space, your strength grows quietly, like a deep river that moves without noise, but shapes entire landscapes. When you learn to use silence as a language, you discover it is not weakness, but mastery. For the calmest voice is often the one that is not spoken, and yet it speaks volumes to those who listen. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I choose peace daily," the illusion of urgency. Who decided that everything must happen now? We live in a constant push to answer quickly, to decide quickly, to achieve before the day ends. Yet Buddhist wisdom reminds us that not all things are meant to be hurried. Time is the ocean. You are the shore. The waves will come and go, no matter how much you demand or resist. The mind, when trapped in urgency, forgets that life moves at its own rhythm. Like a river that reaches the sea without rushing and never arrives late, your path, too, unfolds without needing to be forced. Yet we convince ourselves that if we pause, we will fall behind, not realizing that it is our rushing that often makes us stumble. Urgency feeds stress, and stress clouds wisdom. When you demand answers before clarity has ripened, you plant seeds and dig them up each day to see if they've grown. You cannot rush the sunrise. You cannot force the tide to rise faster. And yet, we try. In our relationships, in our careers, in our healing, creating more suffering than the waiting ever could. Ask yourself, what am I rushing that would unfold perfectly in its own time? You may find that the need to hurry comes from fear. Fear of losing control, fear of missing a chance, fear of the unknown. But when you release that fear, you see that life has never been late. Everything that has shaped you arrived when you were ready to meet it. Practice this truth daily. The next time you feel the pulse of urgency, pause and take 3 slow breaths. Imagine the tides moving in and out without effort, neither grasping for the shore nor running from it. In that rhythm, feel how your body softens. Your mind will want to pull you forward, but let it rest in the present, where no hurry lives. In stillness, decisions become clearer. In patience, actions become wiser. You will find that opportunities which feel urgent now are often not the ones that truly matter, and the ones that do matter will not pass you by when you are calm enough to receive them. Over time, you will see that urgency is often an illusion, a shadow cast by the mind's restlessness. The less you obey it, the more peace you allow in. Your life stops feeling like a race and begins to feel like a walk through a garden, where each step can be noticed, each breath can be savored. You are the shore. Time is the ocean. Let the waves come as they will. You will meet them when they arrive, and never a moment too late. The quiet rebellion against chaos. How do you win without fighting? In a world that glorifies reaction, the quiet choice to remain still can feel like defeat. But Buddhist wisdom teaches that peace is victory without battle. There is a power in refusing to let chaos dictate your movements, in choosing silence when the world demands noise. When conflict calls your name, it tempts you to join its rhythm, to match its energy with your own. Yet this is like dancing to a song you never wanted to hear. You don't have to join every argument, respond to every provocation, or defend every action. Sometimes, the greatest strength is in the refusal to step into the arena at all. Like refusing to dance when chaos plays its loudest song, you create space for your own rhythm to be heard. This doesn't mean ignoring injustice or pretending problems don't exist. It means not allowing yourself to be swept away by the emotional storms of others. You can stand in the center of the storm without becoming part of it. Imagine yourself in a noisy crowd, voices rising, tempers flaring, yet you hear only the steady, gentle rhythm of your own breath. This is not passivity, this is mastery. The world will always have its noise, its provocations, its urgent demands for you to take a side. But when you respond from stillness, your actions are precise, intentional, and free from the poison of impulsive reaction. Ask yourself, where can I choose peace instead of proving a point? You may realize that many of your battles are born from ego, the need to be right, the need to be heard, the need to be acknowledged. When you let go of that need, you often discover the issue was not worth your energy in the first place. The quiet rebellion against chaos is not about retreating from life, but about engaging with it from a place of clarity. When others push, you don't have to push back. When they raise their voices, you can lower yours. When they rush, you can slow down. In doing so, you create a ripple, a subtle influence that can calm even the most turbulent waters around you. Over time, this practice changes not only how you experience the world, but how the world experiences you. People begin to sense that your peace is not fragile, that it cannot be taken from you through provocation. And in this way, you win without fighting, because the real victory is mastery over yourself. Peace is not the absence of noise. It is the refusal to let the noise control you. And that choice, made moment by moment, is the quietest and most profound rebellion you will ever lead. The monk's daily ritual of emotional lightness. Could 5 minutes save your entire day from heaviness? The answer, as the old monks say, lies not in the hours we work through the day, but in the moments we choose before the day truly begins. The mind is shaped by its morning, they remind us. Just as a musician would never perform without first tuning their instrument, you too must prepare your inner world before life begins to play its unpredictable music. When you wake, your mind is like clear water, still, calm, receptive. But life will soon throw its stones, worries, distractions, demands. If you do nothing, the ripples of these stones will disturb your clarity all day. But if you spend even 5 minutes setting your inner tone, the stones may still fall, yet the water will settle quickly. The monks practice this not through grand rituals, but through small, deliberate acts. A slow breath with awareness, a quiet cup of tea taken in full presence, a single sentence of gratitude whispered to the morning sky. These moments are not about escape. They are about alignment, about anchoring your mind in peace before the world has a chance to pull it elsewhere. Like tuning an instrument before a concert, you begin to notice that those 5 minutes influence the entire symphony of your day. A calm start makes you slower to anger, quicker to forgive, and less eager to react. You become less concerned with the chaos around you because your inner state is no longer dependent on it. Visualize this tomorrow morning. You wake, sit in stillness, and imagine your mind as a deep, undisturbed pool. Even if life throws a stone into it later, you will not carry the ripples longer than needed. You will let them pass, and your surface will return to calm. Ask yourself, what small daily ritual can I begin to guard my peace? It need not be complicated. It could be lighting a candle, taking 10 slow breaths, or stepping outside to feel the sun on your face before looking at your phone. The key is to choose something that reminds you that you are in control of how you enter the day. This is not just a morning habit, it is a declaration that your peace matters more than the world's noise, that you refuse to hand over your inner stability before the day has even started. With time, you will see that 5 minutes of intentional stillness can outweigh hours of stress. And perhaps then you will understand the monk's secret. A peaceful day is not given by chance. It is shaped, guarded, and chosen at the very beginning. Bonus lesson: the freedom of needing less. What if happiness was subtraction, not addition? In a world that urges you to accumulate possessions, achievements, validations, there is an ancient truth quietly whispering that the opposite might be the way. You are richest when you desire nothing. It is a truth that does not sparkle like gold, yet it holds a weight that outlasts every treasure. Think of the sky. It does not need to acquire clouds to be beautiful. In fact, the more it is emptied, the more expansive and clear it becomes. In the same way, the less you carry in wants, in comparisons, in restless striving, the lighter and freer you feel. The fullness of life is not found in the pile of what you own, but in the space that remains when you no longer need to own it. We often believe peace will come when we finally have the more we seek: more money, more recognition, more comfort. But desire is a moving target. Each time you reach it, it moves again, keeping you in a constant chase. The monks know this cycle well, which is why they choose to step off the path entirely. They discover that in needing less, they have already arrived. Imagine for a moment your life with fewer wants, not fewer joys, but fewer demands for joy to appear in a specific way. Without the weight of, "I'll be happy when," your mind opens to notice the blessings already scattered around you: the warmth of morning light, the taste of a simple meal, the ease of a deep breath. These moments are not rare. They are simply overlooked when our gaze is fixed on what is missing. This is not about rejecting the world or living without beauty. It is about no longer being owned by what you think you must have. The more you release your grip, the more you notice that life has already been holding you. Ask yourself, if I stopped chasing more, what joy would I finally notice? You might find that the answer is not a grand revelation, but a gentle one. Perhaps you would notice laughter more deeply. Perhaps you would rest more easily. Perhaps you would finally understand that contentment is not hidden in the future. It has been sitting quietly beside you all along. The freedom of needing less is not a sacrifice, it is a homecoming. When you let go of the excess, you return to the simple truth that happiness does not need to be built. It only needs to be uncovered. And when you uncover it, you will see that it was never lost. Quick summary of principles. The weight you chose without knowing. Many burdens we carry are not truly ours. They are expectations, judgments, and responsibilities we've unconsciously accepted. Letting go of these frees mental space and emotional energy for what truly matters. Stillness is the highest form of power. True strength comes from an unshakable inner calm that remains steady no matter how turbulent life becomes. Stillness allows clarity and wise decision-making. The sacred pause between action and reaction. The small gap before responding to events is where freedom lives. By pausing, you prevent regret, protect relationships, and choose responses aligned with peace. The one thing that was always yours. You cannot control the world, but you can control your thoughts, attitude, and choices. Focusing on what is truly within your power prevents frustration and burnout. The loss that brings more than it takes. Letting go often feels like losing, but it opens the door to growth, freedom, and new opportunities that attachment would have blocked. Detachment is not indifference. You can care deeply without clinging. Detachment means loving without suffocating and respecting the freedom of others while maintaining your own. The mirror that shows the real enemy. Often, pain comes not from others, but from the stories we tell ourselves about their actions. Recognizing this helps us respond from wisdom rather than ego. Silence, the language of inner strength. Sometimes, the greatest strength is choosing not to respond. Silence can protect peace, prevent escalation, and allow clarity to emerge. The illusion of urgency. Much of life's stress comes from rushing unnecessarily. Trusting timing and allowing life to unfold naturally reduces anxiety and increases harmony. The quiet rebellion against chaos. You don't have to join every fight or react to every provocation. Choosing peace over drama is a quiet but powerful victory. The monk's daily ritual of emotional lightness. Starting each day with a calm, mindful practice sets the tone for resilience, focus, and emotional stability throughout the day. The freedom of needing less. Happiness grows when you reduce unnecessary desires. Needing less simplifies life, removes pressure, and makes contentment easier to find. In a world that constantly demands your attention, energy, and emotions, the greatest act of self-mastery is learning what to let go of. The less you care about what doesn't serve your soul, the more room you create for what truly nourishes it. Inner peace is not about escaping life, but about no longer being disturbed by it. As Zen philosophy teaches, you will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger. In the same way, caring too much for the wrong things becomes its own suffering. When you train yourself to release attachment, to remain steady amid noise, and to focus only on what you can control, you stop living in reaction and start living in choice. So today, decide to travel lighter. Choose stillness over conflict, clarity over chaos, and freedom over control. If your heart can hold less of what is unnecessary, it will naturally make space for joy. If this video opened your spiritual view on happiness, then like and share this video, share your opinion in the comment box, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.